that position to live off of music. It's just not that lucrative, but I think you guys were at that point.
Yes, we were.
And that's probably when it's the hardest, right? To get everybody to understand that taking it as a business requires a different mindset than taking it as a hobby.
Yep. That's when it was absolutely the hardest, because when we came back from the union, not prior to the reunion, not the first formula setting Suffocation, when we came back and did the reunion, that's when the promise of making it a business was the greatest. None of us were working when we started that again. We didn't have the 9 to 5 to come back to. We were circulating at a level that you could make it. But the first thing we spoke about in this interview was about how responsible we were. Were we partiers and just raging and do this? Or did you have your senses together and knew how to hold your money that you made until you could make it to the next tour, which was 2-3 months away?
Right.
When you mix that in a band, half of us are able to save and half of us are not. The band is a boiling point. It's always at a boiling point because you're ready to lay back. We just did 2 months. You're ready to lay back, hold your money, pay all your bills off, lay back. And if you are of wise thinking, man, you would be using that time to be writing new, getting your business together, get your merchandise, getting everything ready, up, figuring out how to move and interweave, do videos, do all your interview, do all that shit. Or you can take those 2-3 months and lay home and do nothing.
Right. You still got to work. You still got to work for it. It's a year-round deal.
It's so crazy, but it was so doable at that time, especially for us. Now, because you see how a Cannibal Corpse can do it. You see how Obituary could do it. You see how all of the bands we loved who are still doing it, they all were unison in the band. They all understood that they were doing this as a business and they had families to raise, so they couldn't mess around. If you have the split where half doesn't think that way, you're only going to be as strong as the weakest link, and everything's going to fall. Your money is now going to be compromised. My money is going to be compromised. Before you know it, the band just diffuses and messes up. So I think I would have to think that it's a lot harder to do today.
I would agree. I would agree. Just to cut through the static, that's where we're at with everything. Like, I play in multiple bands and it's the same discussion I have with everyone from every label that I work with too, is like, how do you cut through the static? Mm-hmm. Because it is a sensory overload like we've never experienced in mankind, right? You've got so much information at the tip of your fingers that your attention span is 5 seconds long and you just get blasted with everything. So I think it's incredibly hard
it's oversaturated too.
Yeah. Yes,
it's very oversaturated. Yeah. The scene itself, and with social media, it's made it even more saturated. Yes. So, there's good and bad about social media, but now there's no barrier to entry really. So it's like to cut through the static, that's definitely a thing for sure.
It's almost impossible. So
it's almost impossible. And that is a fact. And the first thing you're going to do if you want to try and do that, again, there's nothing more important than everybody in the band being on that same page. If you're not, it's not going to work. It is not going to work. It'll go for a good amount of time, 3 months, 4 months, a year, when everything is still fresh and new, like a new girlfriend. But as soon as you hit that one rock in the road, and realize that, oh shit, my bills are catching up before we could even schedule tours or nope.
And really, like now, because of, selling copies is the hardest thing in the world to do. Right. Mm-hmm. So labels now, it's only licensing, you don't get support, you don't get so anything you want to accomplish, you got to figure out how you're going to accomplish that on your own. And it's a struggle. And I commend everyone who's still out there, fighting that fight.